Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. Custom Autosound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radio since 1977. And by Oil Undercoating, the official oil-based rust prevention system.
Thank you for tuning in to a supercharged edition of Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. This is a Hellcat, and it's the holy grail of American muscle cars these days. And to get 700 horsepower, you don't need a toolbox, you just need a wallet. And it's great right out of the box, AJ, but if you start adding power, things kind of start to go wonky on you. Where do things start to go wrong?
First thing we start with is the differential.
That's where the power actually gets to the ground.
Yeah, so what most guys do, the first thing they want to do is put sticky tires on the car, go to their local drag strip, and get that good burnout and try to put it all down, and that piece right there gives it up.
This is the weak link.
That's the weak link.
And so, how much power are we talking? Does it do that with stock power?
If you treat it right, if you're careful with it, you can get away with the 800 to 850 wheel horsepower range.
So that's pretty good. And my first inkling is, if things start to go wrong here, is to start to add bracing.
Yes, so what we have here is basically a third mount to brace the back of the differential, where in the event of a failure, it doesn't end up falling out of the car.
Well, the stock vehicle starts with 700 horsepower, like I mentioned, and you ramped it up to 1,000 or so, and you found out the hard way that that's a little too much power for the stock diff.
Yeah, so we were roughly 1,000 at the wheels, and we went to a really good sticky track and went to get that launch, and this happened.
That's the piece right there.
This is the piece. This is the actual piece out of that vehicle.
The School of Hard Knocks.
Oh, yeah, we ran it over, 400-mile car.
Fantastic.
Just ran the differential over, and we didn't get off easy on that one. That was about 13,000 in damage on that one.
Oh, that was painful in the beginning, but then it led you to a solution to that problem because other people were having the same issues as well. So what did you come up with?
Our solution was what you see right here. This is our Billet Differential. It's a stock replacement. It's made out of 6061 T6 aluminum. The case is designed to take about double the torque load as a stock case, and we also added provisions on it for the brace as well to give you some extra security. And right now, we're putting about 1,500 horsepower through this in our own test car, and we're able to keep it in the car.
Torque-wise, how much are we talking stock versus your unit here?
It's double. So this engineering analysis that we did on this when it was designed, these ears will take about 12,000 foot-pounds of torque compared to these that take roughly about 6.
And of course, that's the casing that you guys make. What's on the inside? So
on the inside, we source all brand new components right from Chrysler. We use those components inside the differential, so it has a stock feel when the differential's in the car and you're driving your family around. It didn't turn it into a race car.
Well, an installation couldn't be easier. Jim, you headed it up yesterday, and of course the first thing is to take the old differential out. So what's the first thing we have to do?
Well, if the differential hasn't already come out itself, the first thing we're going to want to do is take the exhaust down. The exhaust on these vehicles are pretty simple to do, a couple clips, straightforward. So 202 sensors should be unplugged, and the whole thing can fall out.
Next, we're removing the drive shaft. What's involved with that?
Drive shaft is also fairly simple. You just got to have the right tools. There's a Torx bit and a couple of members holding the center hanger. You just remove that, roll it either forward or back to get to the top section of the bolts, and that should also come right out fairly simple.
And that lets us get to the differential itself now. What's the procedure there?
So that gets a little more trickier now. You might have some broken components, might be some grease slung everywhere. You might have some axle damage, some drive shaft damage. All that stuff being said aside, there's 2 bolts on the back of the housing you're going to want to loosen. There's 2 bolts going up, which are like the front ears of the whole housing. As you start removing it, the differential is going to start coming forward. Leave the back bolts in place, and the front diff should come down.
And you start popping one of the axles out at that point.
Yep, the one axle is going to start to come out. You compress the other side, and as you can fully remove one side of the axle, you should be able to get the other side axle off and the differential out.
All right, now on to the installation of the new differential, starting with bushings. Now, how are these different than the stock bushings?
So the kit is going to come with a set of polyurethane bushings. They're a little beefier than the factory ones. You're going to just press them in. You could do it with a nice mallet, maybe a little bit of lubrication on it. And before you're ready to do the install, it's a good idea to start getting your fluid in there and setting that up, so it just makes it for a cleaner installation down the road.
Reversing the procedure now with the new differential, axles going in and then to the plates.
Yep, you're going to have your one axle that was the last one to come out. That'll be the first one to go in. As you start gently bringing it up, you'll be able to slide in the other axle, bring it up a little bit further, and you should be able to get to your spot of mounting. You can start off simply just by putting the 2 front ones in just to kind of get you an idea of where it's going to sit, and slowly start working in your back bolts. Once that all gets tightened up, you should be in a good spot to start putting in the rest of the accessories, drive shaft, exhaust hangers.
You guys have done this a bunch, so it didn't take you too long, but how long does a typical installation take?
Typical installation, if you have a lift and have all the tools ready, should be about 3 to 4 hours. There have been instances where we've done this trackside, you know, to help out either customers or our own vehicles. With 2 guys, you can get it done a little bit quicker with some basic hand tools. It's really not a very difficult installation to do.
Well, a little bit of work in the beginning is going to save you a whole lot of heartache on the back end. Check out these guys on the web. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings right after this.